Have you ever made a decision so bad, so obviously, spectacularly terrible, that you could almost feel the universe shaking its head at you? Well, I want to tell you about my friend Alex. Alex isn't just acquainted with bad decisions. He builds them a summer home and invites their relatives over for the holidays. His story begins, as many tales of woe do, with a profound and unshakable hunger. One Tuesday afternoon, Alex found himself wandering through a part of town he'd never seen before. The kind of place where maps just give up and say, "Here be dragons," or at least, really aggressive pigeons. And that's when he saw it. Tucked between a pawn shop selling single shoes and a laundromat that seemed to be powered by steam and desperation, was a burrito stand. It wasn't just a stand, it was a monument to questionable food safety. The sign, "Al's Apocalyptic Burritos," was hand-painted on what looked like a piece of salvaged driftwood. The AL in question was a man whose beard seemed to contain the ghosts of meals past, and he was stirring a pot of salsa that glowed with a faint, unnatural green light. It pulsed. The salsa actually pulsed. Every rational thought in Alex's brain screamed, "Run, run and don't look back. Eat a granola bar from your car's glove compartment. Lick a battery." Anything but this. But Alex's stomach, a notorious traitor, rumbled a different tune. It sang a siren song of mystery, meat, and radioactive condiments. I felt a pull, an adventurous spirit he had felt since he tried to fix his own plumbing with duct tape and wishful thinking. So, ignoring the small, sad-looking tumbleweed that blew past, ignoring the fact that Al wiped his hands on a cat, and most definitely ignoring the faintly humming salsa, Alex walked up to the counter. "One apocalyptic burrito, please," he said, his voice filled with a confidence he absolutely did not feel. Al just grunted, scooped a concoction of unidentifiable ingredients onto a tortilla the size of a hub, and doused it liberally with the glowing green salsa. As he handed it over, Alex swore he heard a faint, sinister whisper echo from within its folded depths. "But hey, for $5, who's complaining? Hey, tokabite." And then another. It wasn't just good, it was transcendent. It tasted like every good decision he'd never made, like the thrill of danger and the comfort of a warm blanket all at once. He devoured the entire thing in a state of pure, unadulterated bliss. He wiped his mouth, feeling satisfied, and started to walk back to his car. And that's when things got weird. The world began to shimmer, the edges blurring like a watercolor painting left out in the rain. The familiar gray sidewalk beneath his feet turned into polished obsidian, and the sky swirled into a vortex of angry purple and red. The last thing he saw before everything went black was the burrito wrapper on the ground, which seemed to fold itself into a tiny, mocking paper airplane and fly away. When Alex came to, he wasn't on a city street anymore. He was in a courtroom, a demonic courtroom. He was seated in a defendant's chair made of what felt suspiciously like bone, and towering above him on a judge's bench was a massive, horned demon with eyes like burning coals. The jury was composed of 12 identical, perpetually disappointed versions of his high school guidance counselor. The demon judge banged a gavel that sounded like a thunderclap. "Alex P. Peterson," the voice boomed, echoing in the cavernous chamber. "You stand accused of a lifetime of questionable choices. Exhibit A. That time you thought a perm in 2018 was a bold, retro statement. Exhibit B. Investing your savings in a gourmet earthworm farm. And Exhibit C." The demon gestured dramatically, and a floating hologram appeared in the center of the room. It was the burrito, knowingly consuming a Class 4 necrocaliente burrito with extra guacamole of regret. The jury gasped in unison. His guidance counselors all shook their heads, their faces a mixture of pity. "And I told you so." Alex tried to speak, to defend himself, but no words came out. The demon judge leaned forward. "The evidence is overwhelming. The sentence is to be pursued by your transgressions." With another crack of the gavel, the courtroom dissolved, and Alex was suddenly back on the street. But he wasn't alone. Standing before him, blocking the road, was a giant, sentient burrito. It was the size of a minivan, its tortilla skin rippling with an inner fire, cilantro 4 eyes, and a dollop of sour cream forming a menacing sneer. It let out a roar that smelled faintly of cumin and existential dread, and then It started to roll towards him. Alex did the only thing he could. He ran. He sprinted down streets that were no longer made of asphalt, but of cheese. Hard, Swiss cheese, with potholes he had to leap over. Buildings made of cheddar and brie towered over him. The giant burrito was relentless, bouncing over the cheesy terrain, getting closer and closer. He ducked into an alleyway, which twisted and turned into a dense forest. But the trees weren't trees. They were giant mushrooms, 10 feet tall, with wise, ancient faces carved into their stems. As he ran past, one of them spoke in a slow, deep voice. "You cannot outrun the consequences of your own appetite, young one." Another one added, "Also, try our portobello burgers. They're divine and significantly less likely to chase you." The burrito monster burst through the mushroom trees, scattering spores everywhere. The chase was on again. Alex was faster than he'd ever been, fueled by pure terror and probably some residual caffeine. He finally broke through the edge of the forest and found himself on a cliff edge, overlooking a vast canyon filled with swirling salsa. A dead end. He was trapped. He turned to face his pursuer. The giant burrito rolled to a halt, its cilantro eyes boring into him. It didn't look angry anymore. It just looked tired. "Why are you chasing me?" Alex yelled, his voice hoarse. The burrito didn't answer with a roar. Instead, a calm, familiar voice echoed from it. It was his own voice. "Why do you keep choosing me, Alex?" the burrito asked. "You know I'm bad for you." The sketchy Stan, the glowing salsa. That was just a spicier version of staying up all night before a big presentation, or texting your ex at 2 a.m. "I'm not a burrito, Alex. I'm your love for the easy, tasty, self-destructive path." Alex stared, dumbfounded. The burrito, the chase, the cheese city. It was all him. It was a manifestation of every shortcut he'd ever taken. You're my self-destructive tendencies," he stammered. The burrito gave a slow, tortilla skin nod. "And I'm delicious, aren't I? That's the problem." Alex looked at the burrito, then at the salsa canyon below. He had a choice to make. Confront this part of himself, or let it consume him. He took a deep breath. "Okay," he said. "Okay, I get it. No more." The moment he said it, the burrito began to shrink. The cheese city and mushroom forest faded away. The world dissolved back into the familiar gray of the city street. And then, Alex woke up. He was in his own bed. Sunlight streamed through his window. His heart was still pounding. Was it all a dream? A crazy, salsa-fueled hallucination? He got up, splashed water on his face, and looked in the mirror. He looked the same, but he felt different. Changed. He felt a newfound resolve. He was going to turn over a new leaf. He was going to eat salads. He was going to go to the gym. He was going to finally organize his sock drawer. This was the first day of the new Alex. He got dressed, feeling invigorated. He walked to his kitchen, ready to make a healthy smoothie with kale and good intentions. He opened his fridge and paused. His phone was on the counter. He picked it up. His thumb hovered over his food delivery app. He could feel the old urge, the familiar craving, the siren song of the apocalyptic burrito. Just one more. Couldn't hurt, right? A farewell tour. He fought with himself for a solid 30 seconds. The battle of a lifetime. The new, improved Alex versus the old, burrito-loving Alex. The old Alex won. With a sigh of resignation, he tapped the screen. One apocalyptic burrito. Extra guacamole of regret. Please. He sat on his couch and waited. An hour later, the delivery arrived. He opened a bag, the scent hitting him like an old, toxic friend. He unwrapped the foil, and there it was, in all its questionable glory. As he lifted it to take the first bite, he could have sworn that just for a split second, the burrito winked at him. Thanks for watching. If you've ever battled your own metaphorical burrito, let me know in the comments. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories from the strange side of life. See you next time.